least favorite things to do in class?
Teach?
No, I like that thing. I do not like passing out papers. There's always so many, and I have so many kids, and they're all like, I want a paper, and I'm like, I have too many papers.
I didn't get one.
I know. Passing out papers is hard. I'm going to practice on you. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want you to be better at it.
All right. I'm going to distribute this to you. 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 Oh, I think I got better.
Do you always say that to your kids when you pass them out?
Well, yeah, because distribute means the same thing as pass it out. So sometimes, I mean, not all the time, but sometimes that way they know the word distribute.
Well, now I understand why you hate passing papers out, because you have to talk so much when you do it.
Oh, so you're thinking maybe cut back on the times that I say distribute?
Maybe so.
It's kind of a long word. But do you know, today we're talking about the distributive property.
Well, what do you know?
I know, distributive property. So, just like our lovely teachers and myself pass out papers to you all the time, or maybe another student because I don't like doing it, that's the same as distributing. So sometimes if numbers are kind of big and hard, we can break them down and pass them out, and it makes it easier. So when I distribute all of my papers to one student and they get to then distribute them to you, that makes it a lot easier on me. So what we're working on today is we're going to use an area model, and it basically looks like two boxes, and then we can do multiplication using this. Now, some of you are going to be able to do multiplication without using an area model. For today, I want you to use an area model and practice with this. Okay, so we're using the distributive property, which is where we can pass it out. So if I have 5 times 17, what I can actually do is break this down and make it easy. I can do 5, and I can, since it's a one digit, it's pretty easy, but 17, I don't know my 17s just off the top of my head. But what I do know my 10s and my 7s off the top of my head. So I can break this 17 into 10 plus 7. And that makes it a lot easier. Now the area model helps me with this. I put my 5 over here because there's only one box going this way. There's 2 boxes this way, so I put 10 above one of them, and I put 7 above the other. And you can put a plus sign in between if you want. And that's showing 17. But what I did was, since I don't know my 17s, I did 10 plus 7. Now inside these boxes, I'm going to actually multiply. So I'm going to pull this one and this one down in this one box. 5 times 10, that I know easily is 50. And then I pull this one all the way over here and bring the 7 down, and I do 5 times 7, which is 35. Now, 5 times 17 is not 5035 or 5035. That's not correct. We have to pull this plus sign and add them. So we actually get 50 plus 35.
And we call these partial products. These are partial products because the word partial just means a piece or a part of. So this isn't just partially the product. It's not all of it. And this is a partial product. But together we'll get the full product.
Yep, so when I added 50 and 35, I actually get 85, which is my final answer. So 5 times 17 is actually 85. All right, so that's how I use the area model. And again, some of you might be like, oh, I can do these without it. But I want you to try it, because it's a good representation and makes it easier. All right.
Can we practice? Can I quiz you on how to break numbers apart? Like, I'm just going to give you a number and you're going to tell me what it is.
Okay.
Okay, ready? 26.
20 plus 6.
72.
70 plus 2.
33.
30 plus 3.
12.
10 plus 2.
And last one, my favorite number, 22.
20 plus 2. That's really your favorite number?
Yeah.
My favorite number is 24. Okay, so next one. Oh, she already wrote it up here for me. You're so great.
Thanks.
Okay, so 6 times 81. So I'm going to write it as 6, because that one's easy. I don't know my 81.
You don't?
I did not memorize those
She
in
doesn't
5th
know her
grade.
81s. I know my 81s.
You know your 81s?
Quiz me.
Okay, 81 times 2.
162.
81 times 3.
I don't know. I
You
forgot
don't
that
know
one.
your 81s. Okay, so I'm going to multiply it and break it down because I do know my 8s. Now, I can't just write this as 8 because it's actually in the 10 spot, so it's got to be 80. And then I know my 1s. Of course I know my 1s. Okay, so I've got 6 times 80 plus 1. So I put my 6 over here because it's just one number. Now this one's 2, so I can put my 80 here and my 1 here. All right, so now I do 6 times 80. Whew, that's big. What you remember from our last lesson, though, is that I can just do the front numbers. So 6 times 8 is 48. 6 and 8 went out to skate, and they come back as 48. I find that a lot of students don't know 6 times 8. And then I just add my 0. All right, now I pull this 6 all the way over here, and my 1 down, and I do 6 times 1, which is 6.
And now she has partial products.
Yep, partial product, so 480 and 6, and my answer is not 4,806. I have to add them together, so I get 480 plus 6, which is 486. Woohoo! Now, Mrs. Roy, do we always have to use the area model to do distributed property?
Not at all. I would encourage you, like Miss Rutledge said, we're going to want you to do this first. But as you start getting better and better and better at it, you can start to not have to do the model, and you can write it out just the long way. I mean, you are going to have more writing, but you have less of the picture drawing, and it actually goes faster. So we're going to start with 3 times 42. And without doing an area model, I'm going to show you what that would look like. And I'm going to talk it out just like Miss Rutledge did. So she didn't do anything with the first number because it was a single digit. So I'm going to do the same as her. 3 times, well, I don't know my 42s. I knew my 81s, but not my 42s. And we're going to break apart 42 into its 1s and its 10s. So if I stretch that apart, it's going to be 40 plus 2. Notice how I grouped those together because 40 plus 2 is the same thing as 42. So I want to put them in parentheses, okay? 3 times 40 plus 2, or 42, okay? Now, I don't need to rewrite this every single time, so in your books, you're going to see a lot of times where they just start at the equal sign, and they are going to work their way down. So, we're going to distribute this 3. This is the new part, so pay close attention. In Mrs. Rutledge's boxes, she used her fingers to pull them down, and where they met at is where she multiplied. We're going to do kind of the same thing. We're going to take 3 times 40 and put that into a parentheses. And we're going to add it together with 3 times 2.
Can I jump in, Mrs. Roy?
Sure.
I always like to think as this number out here being the teacher. So just like I was distributing papers to Mrs. Roy, I always like to think of this person being the teacher, and it's their responsibility to pass out to every single person. So this 3 is going to be in every single grouping because that's like the teacher, and these are the students. So 40 only appears once because they get 1 paper, and 2 only appears once because they get 1 paper.
Yep. Sounds good. Okay, can I have a new marker? Maybe this one, I'm not sure which one's better. So now we're going to do what's inside of the parentheses. So if we think about our power of 10s, this is a number that ends in 0. So I'm going to go 3 times 4 is 12, and I've got 1 0, so I'm going to add that on to my answer. That's not my final answer because I still need to do 3 times 2. We all know what that is. That's 6, I'm sorry. I was trying to add them together in my head. And if I add together 120 plus 6, I come out with 126.
Woohoo!
And if we were to do an area model, we would get the same exact thing. Can I show them the area model real quickly?
Yeah.
I'm going to make it kind of smaller. I hope you can see it from there. So I'm going to put my 3 out here like Miss Rutledge did. We broke it apart into 40 plus 2. Can they see it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In this box is where she did 3 times 40. Look over here. 3 times 40, same thing. 3 times 4, 12, plus that 1 0, 120. Notice we got the same thing. I'm hoping you're seeing the pattern. And in this box, she made her fingers come together right here, and she did 3 times 2, which is what we did over here. 3 times 2, which is 6. And then she said move your plus sign right on down and add them together to get 126. And look, we got the same thing.
There we go. So in today, you just need to remember that when you do the distributive property, one, a lot of times you're going to need to show us your models, or you're going to need to show us the way that you distribute. I don't want to see if you know the traditional just multiplying that. Show us how you distributed or show us your area model. You could do either or. Is that okay?
Yep.
And you also need to remember that distributing, it means the same number is going to visit every single one. So don't forget to make sure that it visits the 4 and the 2.
40.
Or the 40.
Yep. Yep. And I want to remind you too to read your directions really closely, because it will say sometimes find this product using an area model, or it might say find this product using the distributive property. So this is the area model, this is the distributive property. If it doesn't say, of course you get to pick, but be careful with your directions. Okay.
There you go.
All right. See you next time.